Welcome to the Osmo Early Bird Podcast. It's your old pal EMAC coming to you with one Adam Ship, my money share, as we get ready for some Saturday MLB action. Adam, how is the nightlife in Baltimore going?
It's good. Having a good time out here.
How was the NBA draft? I was getting lots of tweets, or I was following along on your timeline. Were you out and about, or were you sequestered at home?
No, I was out at the bar watching.
That was Did you heard about the Wizards, right? Apparently claiming they met the person that they drafted, and the person that they drafted said, I don't remember ever talking to them.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the Wizards said that they had talked to him. I saw that he had said he had never talked to them.
Yeah, well, thank God they did the draft without a GM and picked a player. So, well, what are you going to do at 9, I guess? But in any event, let's talk some baseball here. We've got 3 2 o'clock games, and then we have a robust 4 o'clock slate. So those are the ones we are going to focus on. And then there's a, let's see, 2, 4, 5 gamer at 7 o'clock. That you will get the live before lock. Be myself and one Jake Hari going on that one. We will go an hour before a lock, whenever that is. Let's double check what that time is, because they keep bouncing around. Sometimes it's 7:15, sometimes it is 7:10. It is going to be 7:15, so we will go live about 6:15 on Saturday night, so you'll get that, and then you're going to get switching it up a little bit. I got a place I got to go on Saturday morning, so you're going to get Adam and one Josh Engelman are going to be doing the DFS strategy show, and that will go off. If Adam has his way, what time do you want that one to start?
Uh,
11:15.
yeah, 11:15 works.
There you go. So you just got to convince Josh of that now, because I'm not the one running it. So
Oh, right, yeah. So I assume we'll start at 11 like we normally do.
yes, so there we are. But in any event, we got you covered here, and of course you got the Early Bird Podcast, so check it out. Let's jump in game by game and see what we have going on. Our first matchup, just scrolling, I don't think we're going to have much weather this weekend, so that is a nice departure after the Nationals were playing their precipitation shenanigans all week. That was loads of fun, but I don't think we'll have to worry about that. Maybe a little bit in the Midwest, but we'll see when we get there. We've got the Twins. We've got the Royals. Jose Barrios going against Danny Duffy on DK. Barrios is 10,300. He is 6,600, or Duffy is 6,600. Not really interested in either pitcher. We only have 6 to choose from, and we got to pick 3 of them, Adam. Feels weird to cross somebody off just yet. Can you sell me on Jose?
Yeah, I mean, it's only a 3-game slate, so not a whole lot. You can't really be that picky, obviously. Barrios is more expensive than I would like here. Duffy is in a really, really tough spot. The price tag is affordable, only 6,600 on DraftKings, but really tough spot against Minnesota, so not too interested in either one.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm landing on that one. I'm just calling up to see what size the prize pools are. They do have some decent ones here on both sides for the 3 gamers. So you want to play that a little bit on the ownership. You want to look at the popularity. You can check that out. If you have not yet signed up for Osmo Premium, or Osmo Plus as we're calling it, use the promo code EarlyBird, all one word, to get into the action and the fun. You're going to want to look at things along the lines of going a little bit against the grain, maybe play just 1 or 2 lineups and kick back and enjoy while you're building for the 4 o'clock slates, which is clearly a much bigger prize pool, as are the 7 o'clock slates. On the other side here, we have one Danny Duffy going against Minnesota, who is one of the best teams against left-handed hurlers. Of course, they'll have Polanco, Cruz, Crone, probably Sano. Who got dinged up for them? Garver's dinged up, so I don't know who will play catcher. Any interest in Danny Duffy, or would you rather target against him?
Yeah, I mean, I have interest in everyone. It's a 3-game slate, but it's a scary matchup. I would rather get to like Felix Pena, I guess.
Oof. Felix Pena. That one doesn't feel very good. Going here against the Duffmeister, just in this season, he has just shy of a 20% strikeout rate. He has been, somewhat adequate from the power perspective. He is giving up twin 167 marks to both lefties and righties, so not a complete gimme. And he is coming in here with a 4.8 xFIP, so not the worst pitcher you could go with amongst our 6 that we will be looking at. So you will have to put him on the short list. Anyway, the next one, another 215 game here, 94 degrees in St. Louis. I should add that it's 91 degrees with 60% humidity there in Kansas City in Kauffman Stadium. Over here in Busch Stadium, 94 degrees, 60% humidity. We will probably see an opener in front of Felix Pena. Early indications say that it's potentially Luis Garcia. He has been pitching about mid-teens for pitches, so I would be shocked to see him go more than 1 inning in his role as an opener. But then that will ideally run through the first 3, maybe 4 batters there for St. Louis, opening the way for Felix Pena. How are you feeling about Pena going against the opposing pitcher instead of a designated hitter, since this is in the NL Park?
Yeah, and also a primarily right-handed lineup for St. Louis. Pena has struck out 25.5% of righties this year. He's held them to a 252 WOBA, a 150 ISO. So, down at that bottom pricing tier, you have basically Pena, Duffy, and then Dakota Hudson on the other side of this game. I think that Pena is easily in the best spot going against the Cardinals.
All right. On the other side, Dakota Hudson is someone I do want to call out. He does have a very high ground ball rate. Let me get down to him here. So since the beginning of last year, this is over 470 batters. He has a 61.6% ground ball rate, just an 18.4% fly ball rate. Now the trade-off is he's only striking out 15.5%, which is almost 7% below league average, maybe 8% below league average, which is horrible by comparison. And he is walking nearly 12% of all hitters he faces, but he is $6,000. So let's see. Do you think they will have Ohtani play the field at all in this series?
No, I'm pretty sure they had said he wasn't playing the field this year.
Okay. That makes sense because he's coming off the arm or the Tommy John surgery, so it just seems silly that they would do anything to risk him having a shot at coming back and being a pitcher. So potentially he may get some pinch hit duties there, but that means we may see. This is Pujols' old stomping ground, so he probably will get the nod over CJ Cron. But keep in mind, CJ Cron could come into the lineup here as well.
Justin Bour.
Oh God, I said CJ Cron, didn't I? Yes, thank you. Thank you. The Wild Boar. Thank God I didn't say the Wild Crone. Crone Royale. There we are. Get me out of this one, Adam. So final thoughts here. Hudson or Pena? You're going to lean a little bit more towards Pena, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely leaning more towards Pena. The Angels don't strike out. Hudson's not a strikeout pitcher. He's been decent against right-handed hitters overall, only a 15% strikeout percentage, but a 245 WOBA, 0.43 ISO to righties. So really good at getting outs, but I'll take the strikeout upside of Pena.
All right, and then our third and final 250. This is a 220 game. It is the Mets in Chicago taking on the Cubs. We have 65-degree temperatures at first pitch, 80% humidity. It will be overcast, and there will be almost a wind. We're going to say a strong breeze coming in from right at the moment. It is projected to be somewhere between 10 and 14 miles an hour. We have Zach Wheeler at 8,500 taking on the Cubbies, who have Jose Quintana pitching for them. Adam, it feels like Quintana is pitching like what, every 3 days at this point?
Yeah, it feels like Quintana's on like every slate.
I'm not even joking. It's just like, good God, here he is again. Well, we know the book on him. Adequate pitcher. He will be facing a very hefty righty lineup. Pete Alonso looks like the Mets have their next bopper, so that's kind of exciting. You've got J.D. Davis should be making an appearance. Potentially, let's see, the Todd Frazier will be there. It's day game after night game. So let's see, Ramos did not, I don't think he played on the day game on Friday. Pardon me, day game and day game. So it should be Ramos there, batting somewhere between 4th, 5th, and 6th. What do you want to do with first with the Mets hitters going against Quintana, because he's someone I don't mind targeting a few guys against.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind taking hitters against him. Pete Alonso, who you mentioned, is obviously the guy that you really want to get to here in the righty-lefty matchup, but you have affordable pricing on Frazier, Ramos, Rosario, Juan Lagares is almost the minimum on DraftKings, which is unusual. But also, I would expect to get to a lot of Quintana just because he is affordable and the Mets do offer some strikeouts. He's not a great pitcher. He's not a bad pitcher. He's kind of just there, but it's a 3-game slate. So
All right, and then on the other side, wrapping it up, we have the one and only Zach Wheeler. Of course, we do not have implied run totals yet because of the win in the Windy City. They do not post those until the morning of their games, sometimes in the afternoon if it's an evening game. Oh, I'm going to set it, 4.2, 4.3 maybe against Wheeler. Rizzo, Schwarber would be the guys that I would give some consideration to, but I'm not really as excited about the Cubs going against Wheeler as I would be the Mets against Quintana. Any thoughts on that one, Adam?
no, I mean Wheeler and Quintana would be probably my top 2 pitchers on this slate. The Cubs aren't a team that I love taking pitchers against, but Wheeler's pretty good. You're getting him at a huge discount from Jose Barrios. He struck out almost 28% of lefties this year, 23.5% of righties, but not allowing a lot of power or production to either side. He's just a good pitcher, and options are obviously limited here.
All right, let's get on to our 4 o'clock slate. First one we have here is the Blue Jays at Red Sox. The Blue Jays do not yet have an announced starter. It looks like... Is Nick Kingham really a Blue Jay now?
I think so. I know he was DFA'd by the Pirates.
Yes. So let's see. I'm just reading here. Kingham is expected to join the the Blue Jays 25-man roster on Friday. So there you go. DK has him slotted in there. Nobody else is announced on the other sites we look at, including MLB.com probable pitchers page. So we'll have to see who's going to be in there. Kingham, hey, as Adam mentioned, he got DFA'd. He's going against Boston. He is 4,800. I'm obligated to ask you. It's a sub $5,000 pitcher, Adam, but even you can't get crazy and go against Boston, can you, with Nick Kingham?
Pretty unlikely. Not a good pitcher, not a good strikeout matchup. I think I'll be able to find some other stuff.
All right. Would Brian Johnson on the other side be one of those guys? Just 13. Wait, why did he? So he came in a relief appearance. So he started against Baltimore. Thought he started that game against Baltimore. He went 70 pitches, then he pitched 3 days later, went 13. That was back on the 18th. So potentially he might be the 5th starter, but they are not confirming that either. I see it in 2 spots, but not in the 3rd. So we'll have to see what happens there. If Johnson is in, I'm thinking we still would want to take pitchers against him. He has a 10 ERA on the year, just 9 strikeouts. Again, he has not done a whole lot. He's got, 9 total innings under his belt in 6 games played. So he is not particularly stretched out beyond the probably 65 pitch range. Would you take him at 7,600 against Toronto?
No, just too many question marks about how deep he can go into the game. He threw 70 in the game against Baltimore, like you said, but that's the most pitches he's thrown in any of his 6 appearances, and it's not like you're getting him at a really cheap price tag. So, not interested in going there.
All right, 26 on Yahoo. They do get the all-day slate, so you would have all of the pitchers at your disposal. Looking for some reference points here to see who else is discounted. Tyler Beatty, Odrismer Despagne, Brian Johnson, Pete Lambert, Tommy Mione. Yeah, not really good options down there. Would you consider him at 26 on Yahoo?
I'd rather play Malone.
Okay. That's all we need to say. Because, again, we are looking at pitchers. You will get the Adam and Josh full look here. Pitchers and hitters on the DFS strategy show. That'll go off around 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, so be sure to check that out. On to our next game here, Adam. We have Chris Paddock versus Chris Archer. This one is the Padres taking on the Pirates in PNC Park. 75 degrees at first pitch. No real wind or precipitation to worry about. Chris Paddock, 9,800 on DraftKings. That is one of our more expensive options here on our slate. Let's see, he comes in at top 5. Oh, I'm looking at the all-day slate. Let me go back there. But how are you feeling about him? He's had some moments. He is disappointed once or twice, but the Pirates look like they're scuffling a little bit these days.
Yeah, I mean, I think Paddock's a pretty interesting play. It's not like you have a ton of aces at the top here. Luis Castillo is a lot more expensive than Paddock is. Velasquez is a little bit less expensive, but he has his own issues. So yeah, I mean, I like Paddock. It's a good park for pitchers. Paddock has really good stuff. He struck out 35% of hitters this year. He leads all starters that have thrown at least 250 or 750 pitches this year in two-strike percentage. He's been really, really good, and so I am definitely interested in Paddock.
All right, thank you. I got the so Castillo's 11. This is the 4 o'clock only slate on DraftKings. Castillo's 11,100. Yoni Chirinos is 10,300. Paddock is 98. Mike Fiers 93. Vince Velasquez 87, and he probably he may actually start in this one. Turnbull 81. Tommy Malone is 79. Again, he will be the probable long reliever. So looks like we're getting some higher than back to the old grind, I should say, with the pricing. They relaxed it a little bit this week because they were doing their mini millions on DraftKings, so it looks like they're ratcheting things back up again. So that is just something to keep in mind. So Chris Archer is an enigma, a mystery, a riddle. Adam, he is 8,400. He is throwing between 95 and 100 pitches in pretty much every start. He is lucky to get much beyond the fifth inning. How are you feeling about him in a matchup against San Diego where he should be seeing more righties than normal?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's risky because, Archer really hasn't been good this year, but the Padres do have the highest strikeout percentage against right-handed pitching this season. There's not a ton of good pitching or guys in good spots on this slate, so I'm fine going to Archer. I would rather go to Velasquez against Miami if I can only go to one, but I think Archer is fine.
All right.
And actually, I take that back. I forgot that Velasquez is making a spot start, so I don't even know how deep we'll go. So I would rather go to Archer.
All right. I'm guessing we'll see Tatis. He has a 29% strikeout rate. Renfroe has a 29% strikeout rate. Franmil Reyes, 28. Will Myers is at 31. And then I don't think Mejia will be in the lineup. But who am I missing there? Reyes, Renfroe, Mejia, Tatis. So you got those four guys that are averaging just shy of 30 strikeouts against fellow righties. That is enticing with Archer, but again, we are paying full price for him on DK for his apparently new and somewhat diminished skill set from what we're used to seeing. He's 35 on Yahoo. I would play him there on the all-day slate as one of my options at that price point. There are a couple other guys we may reach to that we'll talk about here in a second, but I think he is going to be probably one of my four guys I would be looking at for my pitching player pool there in the mid-tier. Moving on to our next game, Elieser Hernandez going against Vince Velasquez. As you mentioned, this will be a spot start. He, of course, has a track record as a starter, Adam, but he has been, mucking around. He's been in the bullpen. He has just been a mess, incredibly disappointing. The walks plus innings or plus hits divided by innings pitched, the old whip is 1.5. That's a fair amount of base runners. He's got a 4.7 ERA, and he has 10 home runs allowed in 42 innings. So if he were to pitch the equivalent of 200 innings, he would blow by Dylan Bundy, whose number was 43 last year. Vince Velasquez, no bueno. Adam, no bueno. I'll be surprised if he goes more than 45 pitches.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I want to keep an eye on during the day and see if we get any word from Gabe Kapler and the Phillies on how deep Velasquez can go, because it's obviously a good matchup against Miami if he is still stretched out, but I just don't know how many pitches we can expect.
Yeah, and we really haven't seen him go over 30, and he's had quite a few under 20. So just food for thought there as you guys try to decipher that game log in the absence of any other information. Elieser Hernandez, interesting. 6,500 here on DK. Tougher matchup against Philly, but Philly actually, what are really a couple of the numbers I'm gonna call out here. I watched part of the last game where they were taking on the Nationals, and they at one point they said in their last, something like 14 road games, they were outscored by the opponents 111 to like 70 something. They've just been getting gobsmacked. They trace a lot of this back to when Andrew McCutchen went down. They tried out Hernandez as the leadoff hitter. I think he went 2 for 20. They tried off Segura. He was horrible. So they've demoted those guys. Now it's Bryce Harper. He's not doing much better. He's having, other than seeing more pitches per plate appearance. His numbers are down literally across the board from everything in his career. He's looking at right now at like a 1 wins above replacement, where in his MVP year, what was he at? Probably 6 or so. Adam, it's just a mess here. Would you give some consideration to a $6,500 Elieser Hernandez in this matchup? Because I think I will.
Yeah, no question. He struck out 34% of hitters at AAA this year. He made back-to-back, good starts against the Cardinals in his first 2 starts with Miami. He's still a question mark as far as what he actually is talent-wise, because we really don't have much of a sample of him pitching in the upper minors or in the major leagues, because he clearly wasn't ready for that level last year. He was, kind of forced into it. But the strikeout numbers at AAA this year, like I said, were really, really good. He's been good in his first couple of starts. It would be one thing if he was now priced up to, 8,500 or something like that. But there's still plenty of excess value at this cheap price tag.
28 on Yahoo. That feels like one of the best plays out there.
Yeah, just another guy that I would rather roster than Brian Johnson.
All right. Brian Johnson sitting on his couch. Hey, guys, what's wrong with me? Well, I don't think we have enough time on the podcast to go over that. Let me see here. I wanted to see where he's coming in at 7,000 on FanDuel for their 4 o'clock slate. So over there, you've got, for perspective, Castillo at 9,800, Paddock at 88, Fires 81, Arrieta is in there. So who knows if it's, remember they had all those bunched up doubleheaders and rainouts and all that mess with the Nationals. So we'll have to see if it's Velasquez or Arrieta. That's kind of a who knows. Turnbull is at 75, Archer 78, Malone 77, Hernandez 7 even, and Andrew Cashner 6,400. We'll talk about him soon enough. I think that's going to do it for Miami at Philly. Continuing through here, we do not yet have a starter listed for the Tampa Bay Rays. Chirinos is coming in on some sites. There may be an opener. So they're kind of giving him the old, or Tampa Bay the old blank. But we do know that Mike Fiers, he of 2 no-hitters in his career out of the, 301 or whatever it is in Major League history. That's just amazing that he has, almost 1% of the no-hitters. That's frightening. What do you want to do here with Mr. Mike Fiers at a top price point, more or less across the board?
Yeah, I don't have interest in that price tag. He's been fine this year, but still not a really high strikeout pitcher. He's facing a Tampa lineup that does have a lot of power. I would just rather get to Chris Paddock in that price range.
Yeah, I don't think we need to perfume the pig on this one. If you were going for one-off, would it be Yi-Min Choi?
It would be Austin Meadows. He's only 4,300 on DraftKings, which is really, really, really cheap.
Yi-Min Choi is 60. 36. Love the dyslexia. 36.
Yeah, Austin Meadows is just really good.
Okay. All right. That is actually a valid point. Yi-Min Choi. He has his moments, though. He's become one of my favorites, Adam. Don't play the people who are my favorites. Hashtag Fred Van Elite. Detroit, Cleveland. We do know that Spencer Turnbull is starting for Detroit. Cleveland is going apparently with Aaron Savali?
I have no idea.
He has not pitched yet. We'll have to look him up.
He's made 2 or 3 starts at AAA. He's made, I think, 5 at AA this year.
All right. Let's see. He is 24 years old. You are correct. He has 5 starts this year in the minors, 4 for AA, 1 for AAA at Columbus. He has gone through low A, AA last year was his big promotion. And then this year, returned to Akron for AA and then got the bump up here to AAA. And it sounds like he is going to get a start here. 6,500 going against one of the worst teams in the league in Detroit. What would you like to do with him? Just at first blush, your initial reading of the tea leaves before you've done any additional due diligence.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a good matchup against the Tigers. He's fully stretched out. He's thrown between 90 and 100 pitches in most of his starts this year. But the issue is just that he's not a high strikeout guy. I mean, at AA this year in 30 innings, he struck out 19.8% of hitters. Steamer projects him for 6.4 strikeouts per 9. So I don't think he's as good as Elieser Hernandez. It's a small enough slate where maybe I get to some of him just as a pivot in some lineups, but I would say that Hernandez is definitely the priority for me at that price point.
All right. So found a little bit more news. This will just be a spot start. It sounds like Clevenger is got moved to the disabled list on Friday afternoon with an ankle sprain. So this should be. It also says this is the only time the Indians really would need a fifth starter between now and the All-Star break. So he'll probably just be a one and done, and then they'll just bring up another bullpen arm. On the other side, you have Spencer Turnbull. He has faced the Cleveland squad twice already this season. Did not do well against them. He did go 9 total innings, allowed 9 runs, 2 home runs, 8 strikeouts, but 21 base runners in those 9 innings. That is not good at all. On the season, he has a 1.3 whip. In his 2 appearances against Cleveland, he has a 2.3. I'm guessing the truth lies somewhere in between, but at 8,100, how much do you want to pay, or do you want to pay 8,100 to find out, Adam?
No, I think it's a tough strikeout matchup. Not a ton of strikeouts in the lineup for Cleveland, but also only a 16% strikeout percentage for Turnbull against lefties. Cleveland's projected lineup has 7 left-handed hitters, the only righties being Oscar Mercado and Roberto Perez. So it's just not really a spot where I want to get to Turnbull. I would rather roster Tommy Malone at 7,900 than Turnbull at 81.
All right, here's a fun one on DK. Another 4 o'clock matchup here. We've got one after this. We have Luis Castillo, 10,100 on DK. Yolis Chacin at 5,600. Let's talk just DK pricing for the moment. Would you consider pairing these guys together for their reasonably nice average price point there of, what would that be, 8,300?
Yeah, I would rather get to Hernandez than Chacin if I can, but 5,600 is perfectly fine. He's not a great pitcher by any stretch, but Cincinnati's not the best offense, and 5,600 for a pitcher is pretty much always reasonable. Castillo, obviously is up there with him and Paddock are the 2 best pitchers on the slate.
Right.
Give the edge to Castillo. He's been really good this year. He's cut down on his walks. Not cut down on his walks. He's cut down on his power allowed to lefties. He's only allowed a 107 ISO to left-handed hitters this year, 293 expected WOBA. He struck out 29% of hitters from either side of the plate. So while it's a scary matchup against Milwaukee, I think that there is still plenty of upside for Castillo.
All right. Now looking at FanDuel only, it's Castillo at 9,800 or Paddock at 8,800. I think those are the only 2 we would consider, right, on FanDuel, because then we're down to Fires, Archer, etc. Feels a little risky for anybody else.
Yeah, on the one pitcher side, those are the clear priorities.
All right, and then on Yahoo, 46 for Castillo. He's actually $3 less than Paddock. He is $5 less than Jose Barrios. And then you do have Hyun Ryu at 53. He's on the 7 o'clock slate, but he is going against Colorado. If you were choosing between the matchup for Ryu against Colorado or Castillo in Miller Park for a $7 discount, which one would you land on?
You said Ryu against Colorado?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would lean towards Ryu.
All right. And then for perspective on Chacin, he is 32 here on Yahoo. So the guys I would consider probably would be Archer at 35, Dakota Hudson at 31, but I think you're going to point towards Eliseo Hernandez at 28.
Yep.
Okay. There we are. Just wanted to give people the different looks here at the different pricing and the different sites, because that's the key to building your lineups, at least your shell lineups, is knowing where to go and how to pivot if you are playing on multiple sites. Finishing it up here, Adam, my squad against your squad, the Orioles, the Mariners, Andrew Cashner, Tommy Milone. If Cashner was more like 5,800, I think I would play him. He's 7,100. I don't hate the idea. Now, the Mariners are down a bunch of hitters, but this is they've been doing okay. Now, Cashner, I think, is better than he gets credit for. He has not allowed a home run in 2 games across 12 innings. That's pretty good, Adam. He's actually seen his ERA essentially go down since the beginning of the season in most of his starts. Had a little rough patch there on either side of Memorial Day where he gave up 11 runs across 10 innings in 2 different outings, but calmed things down there in Houston and in Oakland. He went 6 innings in each, 4 hits in each, 1 earned run in each. He does not get strikeouts, but he's not allowing the home runs, which is a huge issue. The walks have not been been horrible either, outside of randomly San Francisco getting to him for 5. I'm considering Cashner here. Talk me into it or out of it.
Yeah, I'm not really getting there. I think he's just more expensive than I would like. I agree with you. If he were down in that like 6K price range, it would be more appealing, but just not a lot of strikeout upside for him. You know, the Mariners offense isn't very good now that they don't have Encarnacion or Bruce, but it's just not someone I'm going to get excited about paying 7K for when he has the lowest strikeout percentage on the 4 o'clock slate.
Yeah, that's kind of the tough one. So you're willing to, as we finish this out, go to Tommy Malone at $800 more there on DK.
Yeah, the Orioles are just really, really bad, especially if Trey Mancini's still not in the lineup. Malone has struck out 22.8% of righties this year. He's held them to a 245 WOBA, 240 expected WOBA, 131 expected ISO. You know, pitching in Seattle instead of Baltimore is appealing as well. The only real concern with Malone is that, you know, he is coming in as the follower. So, for one, that takes him out of play on FanDuel, but it also makes it likely that you get like 80 pitches out of him instead of 100. And as the price tag's rising, that's not great, but I still just, you know, really like the spot.
All right. With that, gamers, we got you through the first 2 slates. There will be, of course, the main slate, the 7 o'clock slate. Tune in at 11 on Saturday morning. You will get Adam and Josh breaking down all the games on the DFS strategy show. Then you will get myself and Jake Hari at 6:15 breaking down the 5-game main slate. You can follow Adam at ShipMyMoneyDFS. I am at EmacDFS. And, of course, it is Osimo_COM on Twitter. With that, gamers, good luck.